Hello friends, I hope we're all well and enjoying the hot weather. I know I'm not because it's too bloody hot. And today we're going to be reviewing the album The Weight of the Oceans, and it's by a band called In Mourning, which originated in Falun in Sweden. So let's have a goosey gander at the vinyl I literally just bought 3 days ago. Let's do this. Okie doke, so this is the album art in question. I'm not even joking when I say this might be my most favourite album artwork I own. It's truly beautiful. The colour schemes are fantastic. I love the aquatic blues and greens. I mean, you can probably guess at this point this is what the album is about. It's all about like aquatics and nautical related stuff, which is all very, very nice. The waves look really realistic, and it's annoying because my camera's a good camera, but it's not amazing enough to see how realistic this all looks. I love this Kraken looking bastard right here. He looks terrifying as all hell, but as I say, majestic at the exact same time. Don't know how they do it, but I love it. And then I'm a sucker for this. The night sky. Like, I know this is kind of going off on a bit of a tandem, but whenever I play RPGs like Oblivion or Morrowind or whatever, I love playing in the nighttime because you always see stuff like this. And I don't know why. I think it might be the contrast between the stars and the night sky. To me, it's just very visually appealing, but this is beautiful. I really, really love this artwork. Let's have a look on the back. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got the same colour schemes, patterns and such going on again, which is really bloody consistent. As you know, if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm a sucker for that and I love it. I don't really think you can see here. It's probably not going to pick up. It's slowly coming towards you. Let's see if we can pick it up here. Artwork by Christian Wallin. I think that's how you pronounce your name. I'm not Swedish, but you are a god and you should be treated as such. One thing I am going to note, because I mean, I'm so proud of this, it's beyond belief, because I'm sad I have no life and I'm not fun at parties. I have copy number 1 of 125. I own the very first copy. I am amazing. I'm not really, but you get my point. So as you can see, it's probably not going to pick up on the camera. I've just realised the dark colours is probably going to look awful, but this is a gatefold album, and inside on both sides we have all of the lyrics for the songs accompanied by little bits of artwork, which I think is bloody great personally. So the one thing that you might not have noticed when I was just doing that little bit about the artwork, you can't, unless you look on the spine here, you can't actually see excuse me, you can't actually see the title or the band's name anywhere on the artwork. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't think In Mourning need to have the titles on their albums. I know, because I've got 2 of their other albums, I know full well they don't have their album name on there, and they don't have their band name, but they don't need it. When you've got artwork this amazing and this memorable, it almost becomes their unique SP, which most bands fail to ever have. And I really think for a band this small, that is remarkable. I love it. Lastly, I just wanted to say, as always, as pretty much always with gatefold vinyls, this one, again, feels very, very premium. It feels very sturdy. It feels like it can take a bit of damage. You can use this as a frisbee if you want to, but if you do this with this particular LP, I will come to your house and I will cut you. As you can see on this particular record, or I should say it's a double LP because you've got side A, B, C and D. As you can see, the colours on this are absolutely fantastic and match kind of like a mix of the colours that you just saw on the album art, which is fantastic. I was actually going to make a point. I've got a little script up on my computer right next to me. I was about to say that I don't really like the transparency because to me it looks a bit cheap and weird. However, if this isn't a nautical themed album, of course it's going to be bloody clear. It's about pissing water, well, not pissing water, that'd be a different colour entirely, but it's about water. So of course it's going to be transparent. As I said, I'm an idiot. I don't pretend to be an expert in these things, but at the end of the day, you're watching me and that just speaks volumes about you personally. Anyway, so we've got side A here. And I flipped it to side B first time. I've actually gone and done it, lads. Well done me. And as you can see, custom labels on both side A and B. So as you can see, we've got side C. Let me get a closer look for you there, my chaps. And then on the other side, oh, I'm getting so good at this, side D as well. Excellent. Right, so my thoughts on the album then. I'm not even joking about this. I think the opening song, Colossus, might actually be one of the most favourite songs, in my honest opinion, that I've ever heard. And allow me to explain. So when the song kicks off, you get this sinister, almost drone type sound, which immediately sets the atmosphere, and you know what's coming just from that bit there. The intro is drawn out, but this isn't a bad thing. Effectively, the long intro serves to layer each instrument as it's introduced, and each instrument gets its own showcase, if you will. So when all of the instruments are introduced, the guitar plays, and it just sounds so punchy and majestic. It actually sounds so clean, crisp, and it's just absolutely godlike. After this, we are then treated with very, very deep vocals, which, if I'm honest, I wasn't expecting the first time I heard this song. Christ, I can't remember how many years ago I heard this song, but it was just a YouTube recommendation. I clicked it, and it has changed my life. There is a variation between vocal ranges, and they are utilised perfectly. You tend to get the higher vocals leading up to the chorus and also in the chorus itself. For melodic, I can't even bloody talk now. For melodic death metal, the vocals are very, very clean and you can hear everything. It's very understandable, which for me is always a bonus in this particular genre. No matter how you look at it, the guitar work, the bass, all of the guitar, just all of the guitars that even have anything to do with this album are played flawlessly. Drums are perfectly balanced and they don't overshadow or overstep any of the instruments whatsoever. The only bit of criticism I can really find with this song, and trust me, I found this album really, really hard to review. As I say, I do have a script, but I'm kind of deviating from it a little bit because, I mean, I've listened to this album like 4 or 5 times, and this song I've had on repeat pretty much since I bought the album, and obviously before that as well. The only criticism I can really say for this song is the vocals are a tad deeper than you would expect. But the moment you hear them, shortly after you hear them, you actually realise that this is part and parcel of the charms, one of the charms of this album, because I swear there are plenty as you go through. I almost never say this because I'm a very critical person. I can find fault in anything. But this song really is absolutely exceptional. It is faultless. I would even say it's one of my most favourite songs of all time. I did not expect that from this particular album and from a band as small as what they are. So when this song comes to an end, you're then greeted with another song called A Vow to Conquer the Oceans, and it completely sets a different kind of tempo. Colossus, I should have said, is quite mild in terms of tempo. This one steps it up a little bit more. If I'm honest, all of the same critique applies here. The only changes I would say here would be that the drums by Christian Netzel are by far at the forefront. It's this song is pretty much driven by the drums, and there's a breakdown halfway through the song which is enough to make you stop what you're doing, and it doesn't let go of you until it's done. There is actually a music video for this song, and I'm going to put it in the description on the basis that it just deserves its attention. Like, it deserves so much attention. Every single song on this album, as you're about to find, stands up so well on its own, and I really think, again, you should just treat this song as, you know, this is one song, this is one song. Just when you listen to the album, listen to each song and take it for what it is, if that makes sense. Appreciate it for what it is, that's what I meant. The third song, A Tidal Sleep, opens just as majestically as the others. If I'm honest, I am finding this album ridiculously hard to review because I'm really struggling to find fault. And this has been the first 3 songs. If I had to pick something here, I would say that the offbeat melodies, which only occur not that much in the song at all, can be a bit unpleasant to hear for the first time. But if you give this a second listening, it's not going to be a problem. Even then, the only reason I noticed this was because I was trying to notice it. Like, if you're just listening to the album, you're not going to pick up on it whatsoever. The bass in this song by Pierre Stam, I believe his name is, sounds absolutely fab and accompanies the lead guitars beautifully. The lead guitars are performed by Tim Nedergaard, Tobias Netzel and Bjorn Pettersson. Did I get that right? Yes, get in. The vocals in places mellows out, which it's not like this album needed that, but it was nice to see that it was willing to go to these depths, and it really made the album even more diverse than it actually was at this point, and it was already a very diverse album. The full song Celestial Tear starts playing and brings everything down to a very, very slow speed. Vocals on this particular song are far softer than they have been throughout the whole album, and it really showcases what Tobias Netzel and Bjorn Pettersson can really do. Truly sounds beautiful to listen to. Each instrument is very distinguishable. You can easily pick out, that particular sound of the instrument, the bass, the drums. You can hear everything on its own and it sounds fantastic. Towards the end, everything comes together and gives the song the oomph that is coming at some point. The song does end abruptly, and I would usually hate this, but I actually quite like it. I think in this particular instance, it worked. So that was side A and B. Honestly, so far, I'm really, really struggling to fault this album. I know I'm repeating myself, and I'm going to be repeating myself throughout the entirety, but this album is truly flawless. And because of that, I'm really excited to see what side C and D offer. Let's have a look. So side C starts off with a song called Convergence. You already know at this point what I'm going to say. I'm not going to repeat it again. Again, really trying to pick something out on what I'm about to say is really trivial. It's not really criticism, but the vocals on this song are by far the most aggressive that they have been throughout this album so far. That being said, some of the arrangements for parts of the song sounds very similar to the opening song Colossus. Again, this is entirely subjective and you're most likely not going to see this through your playthrough of the song. There is a break in instruments partway through the song, and this is led by the bass. It sounds brilliant and it really does outline what the bassist can do. The song ends almost in the opposite fashion to how Colossus starts, in which the instruments are stripped away as the ending progresses. The one thing that did take me by surprise, the song Sirens, which plays after this one, opens with keyboard. It's just genius. I mean, you don't hear that kind of thing often especially in my collection anyway. And it took me off guard, and it just sounds absolutely gorgeous. I feel like that song really can show how beautiful metal can be. So Siren kind of leads you on this impression that the album is really starting to mellow down, for good this time. And then Isle of Solace starts, which is by far the most aggressive tempo on this. I think it might even be this album. I'm not too sure because I can't remember as of now. I do have it written down. I might be saying that later. Who knows? Despite this, I would say at this stage that Isle of Solace might be the weakest song. The only reason I've said this is because there has to be a weakest song on this album somewhere and I can't find it. So I'm just going to at this stage say Isle of Solace is the weakest song. I don't know why. There we go. So now we're moving on to side D, and it opens with The Drowning Sun. So the opening did sound a tad generic. Maybe this is where the album is starting to show its weak spots. Turns out that this was just a red herring, because as the song plays, it just stands out on its own again. I can't find any fault. I'm really trying. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be critical. I can't even talk. I'm getting angry. So the drums of this particular song are again at the forefront, and the guitar work again sounds beautiful. You've heard me say this already. The ending song, Voyage of Wavering Minds, kicks in, and at the start it almost sounds a bit instrumental with just a compilation of bass, drums and guitar. Vocals appear much later and they deliver the oomph that the song was going to be going for at some point. At this point it almost turns into like a doom metal vibe. It's very, very slow paced. And the guitar does sound very doom metal-ish, if you get my point. I almost feel like with this particular song, and again how good it was, I think In Mourning could probably do a doom metal album and it would sound fab. Get on that, lads. So the song is slow enough that the album is coming to an end. However, it's hard-hitting enough to still be memorable along with every other song on the album. I mean, I've not forgotten about this album. I literally have only had this album for 3 days. I think I've played it through maybe 5 or 6 times, which I very, very rarely do with an album. So in case you couldn't tell, the album in terms of lyrics is all nautical and water themed. I always welcome unconventional themes as of this. It's very easy to make a song about love, money, drugs, sex, it's very easy to make songs about that. But when you've got something like, nautical themes or pirates or, whatever, I think it gives strength, or at least gives credibility to the creativeness of the band and how strong they are as a band, that they can create something like that, which is captivating, just very unconventional. I think it's excellent. So lyrically, the album is in English, which is obviously a bonus to me. However, as I said before, the band is from Sweden, so that's their native language. Well, I'm assuming so anyway, I might be wrong. I would really be interested in seeing In Mourning do an album entirely in Swedish. It might be a tad lost to me, but I just love seeing bands do stuff in their own culture and language. I don't know, I love it personally. All in all, this album, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, is absolutely faultless. Unless you're actually trying to find something wrong with the album, you won't find it. The atmosphere is really cold and beautifully created and just ties in perfectly with the artwork. I urge anyone, pick this album up. I don't care how much it costs. If you see it, you buy it. I am making it the law. It will be worth your money and will bring you joy for many years to come. So, in terms of vinyl releases, there's only two. One in black and obviously one in blue, which you've just seen. There's 500 in total, so 375 on black vinyl and 125 on blue. You can pick up a black version on Discogs for between 20 to 30 British pounds. I actually feel a little bit sick saying this. I really paid over the odds for my copy. So the album was already expensive. It typically goes for 60 to 80 pounds. And obviously I have the very first one, which bumps its value up a little bit. I paid £100 for that album. And you know what? I don't regret it. In fact, I would say it was worth every penny. You might think I'm mad, but that's genuinely how I feel about the album. This album to me represents every single reason why I collect vinyl. Every single positive feeling I get when I purchase vinyl or listen to vinyl, I get with this album. On that note, before I get teary, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. I'm going to go play Warzone and piss my missus off. And I will see you in the next one. Farewell. Apparently that's farewell in Swedish. I don't bloody know.